Okay, so we're only doing an introduction or basic mobile hacking. This is going to require the end user to make some mistakes. So, what is mobile hacking and what does it mean? Well, mobile hacking is the deliberate study or exploitation of smartphones and tablets in order to gain information, control, or persistence without the owner's consent because handheld devices carry personal photos, credentials, and payment apps. Compromising them often yields more sensitive data than a desktop intrusion. There are some major categories of mobile hacking. You can do network layer attacks such as data in transit, Wi Fi cellular, Bluetooth, or NFC. You can use evil twin hotspots, IMSI catchers, or BLE sniffing, aka Bluetooth sniffing. Application attacks would be through apps and storage devices, where you can do code injection into vulnerable APKs, repackaging legitimate apps with malware, and so on. There's even OS and privilege escalation, where on Android or iOS, kernels and services using tools such as Dirty Cow, Binder, UAF, MTKSU, Checkmate on older iPhones. This is assuming that there's vulnerabilities within the kernel or operating system. You're doing physical or USB based attacks. That's the device in hand or within a USB cable. You can do ADB abuse, HID emulation or HID emulation using a rubber ducky, JTAG, or EDL flash. There's also social engineering and SIM account takeover. This is really exploiting the human factor, where you're phishing, as in sending phishing links in SMSs, malicious QR codes, SIM swapping, and fraud. Even breaking into the cloud backups, where you're abusing cloud sync data. You can do credential stuffing for iCloud or Google, zero auth token theft, and so on. For our lab demonstration, we're going to be more focused on offline lab handset setup so that we can actually break into a mobile handset without actually breaking any laws or exploiting anybody else's device or exposing anything that's private or violating privacy or law. So we're using USB debugging foothold, so enabling developer options within USB debugging and connecting over ADB or our ADB bridge. So if you're using a test device or somebody has left your phone in debugging mode or USB debugging mode, you're able to actually just sideload payloads that way. We're going to use a reverse shell APK where we're going to compile an app through Android Studio and then enabling stuff like permissions such as manage external storage, starting the app as a foreground app and then having it run in the background and establishing persistence for it as well. So this would be more like a Trojanized app, so or somebody downloading an app through an SMS phishing campaign or side loading links. Could even be somebody trying to get a free application that's hosted on a free app website. Um, we're going to deal with some in-sandbox exploration using things like toy box utilities, which will allow us to browse like attach storage and go through a bunch of stuff on the actual phone. That's through actually accessing data without having to actually root the device. Um, we're also going to build Dirty Cow, which is CVE 2016-5195. If we want to, we can also use MediaTek MTKSU binary and execute it from a temporary a directory. That'll allow us to jump from app UID to a full root ID. And it'll allow us to unlock things such as the data directory where all the SMSs, contacts, and keys are actually stored. With our APK, we're actually establishing persistence so that whenever the phone is rebooted, our shell will auto reboot. And then we're going to also disable the icon and run it as an alias so that after it's run, nobody knows it's running in the background still. So for our first one here, we're exploiting or leveraging the ADB bridge in order to transfer our payloads over, such as Dirty Cow and BusyBox. We can also create a payload using MSF Venom on our Kali Linux box, sign it so that it looks legit, and then send somebody a download link. So we're going to emulate a web page just by using a simple HTTP server in Python, and then navigate to that web page and download the payloads that way. This is where we're creating our own custom APK, and then we're going to get the user to download it again. We're going to just host simple HTTP website using Python, and then me being the user on my cell phone, I'm going to download it and connect to it through Kali Linux.